Aloha! So we are going to do a comparison of concert-sized ukuleles today, and we're going to be looking in the price range from a little below 100 to a little above 200, and we'll see what we do. Let's start at the low end. We've got the MKC from McCulloch, and we'll show you what the good advantages are and what the not as good disadvantages are of each model in this comparison, and hopefully you'll be able to hear it with these mics. If you play it on a higher end speakers, you'll probably hear it even better. Okay, McCulloch. This is made out of a wood called agathis, which you've probably never heard of, but it works pretty well if you're making a pretty okay ukulele. This is about the bottom end of what we would call an instrument grade uke. If you go lower than this, you usually start losing intonation, and then you're in a toy instead of an actual uke. But this one, list price is $99.99. We sell it 20% off. It would be about, what is that, $79.99 if I got that right. Okay, so here's a play. Sounds okay. What happens if you go to a better uke than this? A couple things. Instead of the plastic tuning gears, you get more metal component tuning gears, and you move to a different wood. This is mahogany and a laminate. Mahogany resonates a little better than agathis. However, it still has a open back tuning gear. This one is the KA-15C. This one is $109.99. 20% off would be $87.99. But it's still open back tuning gear. How much of a big deal is that? Well, it depends on what you're expecting out of your uke in the long term and what environment you're in. If you're in a sand environment, these tend to get clogged with sand, and then they either strip or they warp a little bit. I'm not going into too much detail of the engineering. Each one of these tuning gears has two little brackets that hold it in, and this is not a full U bracket. It's just sort of a C bracket. It's open on this end. And when stuff gets in here, it tends to get a scenario where it's not tight anymore, and then you try to tighten your tuning gear, and maybe tightens one way, move it the other way, and it doesn't move the gear at all. And then you get like play in there. It just gets irritating, or they stop working, or they need to be replaced. If you're not expecting more than a year out of your uke, maybe that's fine, but for me, it's like, well, for just a little bit more money, it's not necessarily always as smoothly finished on the edges. This one actually is just fine, and a lot of them are, but sometimes you get one that just doesn't feel quite as smooth. If you go to this, which is the KA-C, list price $129.99, on sale it'd be $103.99. This has a metal tuning gear, and it's an all-enclosed tuning gear. That's a better product. It's just going to solve your problems. It's usually better finished all around. Little things like when you hold it in your arms and you feel it, you don't always see it in a picture, but it just feels like there's been a little more attention to detail in putting it together. Let's play this one. This is generally the lowest price one that I'd really be recommending for somebody that wants to take up ukulele. If you go lower than this, your uke will probably work, but it won't necessarily be as fulfilling. I think for not too much more money, this is a good buy. So consider this. There's some variations on this once you're into the mahogany here and the KA-C. Let me show you a couple variations. This one is same model uke, same build, but it's got a gloss on it. The gloss adds about $40 at list price to it, or about $32 after the sale. So list is $169.99, on sale $135.99. I'll play this one side by side with the KA-C and tell me what you think in terms of the sound. Now the less expensive one without the gloss. Back to the more expensive one with the gloss. See, I don't think this sounds as good, and I think the mics probably pick that up. So it's prettier. It is, but it doesn't sound as good. So that's, in my opinion, to my ear. So sort of a trade-off for me. I like this one better. You may like this one better, and that's fine. We can still be friends. Let's look at another variation. Another mahogany. This is called exotic mahogany. Give this one a play. Compare that back to the KA-C. Not a whole lot of difference there. This one's kind of hit and miss. Sometimes you get one of these that sounds better than the KA-C. Sometimes you get one of the KA-Cs that sounds better than this. This has a little bit of this one's a little more plainer looking. Sometimes they're a little more interesting. There's some variation in it. They also make this in like this bluish color. I don't have it in stock right now. I'm not a big fan of bluish colored ukulele. It's like to me it's like it should look like wood, but everybody gets their own opinion. You know, don't get offended just because I tell you what I think. As far as the money though, this one is list price $170, $199. On sale it'd be like $137. So this would be like $34 more than this one. It's, you know, all beauty's in the eye of the beholder. You may like it, you may not. I don't think the tone is better. However, the next one I'm going to show you, the tone is better. So, this is the Pacific Walnut. It also has a little more interesting visual to it. Kind of cool. But it's got a better tone. So I'll play side by side the Pacific Walnut back to the KA-C as they are what we'll call our standard. KA-C, actually, it might just be a fluke. Sometimes you get one that's maybe a little more resonant. The PWC generally has a little more ringing tone. If we do a finger style, it might show a little more. Back to the PWC Walnut. So this does have more ringing tone. You can play it a little bit more delicately and it just sounds slightly more sophisticated. In a subtle way, it's hard to point out exactly how that is or what's going on, but it is better. This one, list price on it is $168.99, and after the sale it's like $135. It used to be more expensive, but it came down in price recently when they made their recent price adjustment, like, what was that, like probably the beginning of the year. So I think it's worth it to jump up to the PWC. It's not that much more, and you do get a better result in tone and the visual. So I think this one's a good model too. If you're willing to go up above the 103 mark, this one will bring you up to 135. All of these prices are sort of the a la carte price if you just get the uke without the gig bag and stuff like that. If you look at on our website, usually it bundles it together with the gig bag, so it may show a little more. That's the reason why. All right. Let's move from the PWC up to one model. We'll go to the SCG. Rearrange. Sorry, I got like ukes all over the place in the store here to try to make this efficient. Okay, SCG. This is the first one that has solid wood. This is a solid spruce. And again, these all have the better tuning gears. This one's like, holy cow, now we've got some tone, we've got some volume. Like I gotta raise my voice to talk over the ukulele, and that is a good sign. Not because you're trying to be the loudest uke in the room, but what it means is when you play something that's a little more delicate, I'll play the same thing back on the PWC. This is a little bit out of tune. anything out of tune will not sound as good, so we gotta keep them tuned to be fair. Sounds pretty. Back to the SCG. This one is a hugely better product in terms of the tone that it produces. This one, list price is $229.99, on sale is $183.99. So if you're interested in going into more fingerstyle ukulele, something a little more intricate, this really is a good buy. It does cost, comparing back to this one, the KA-C, this one was $103.99, this one's $183, so it is a big jump, but it's a substantially better uke. This is the lowest price one in the concert that has a solid wood top, and which makes a big difference. Now I'll do a direct comparison back and forth here and show you one versus the other. Back to here. Well, back and forth usually reveals a lot. Yeah, it's like I'm not playing as hard. It's just like, what? It just sings forth. It does make a big difference in play. You're not as likely to get swamped if you're playing side by side with a guitar, for example. Just better tone. There's another one that we should consider also. It's an ebony ukulele. It's an ebony laminate, whereas this one's a solid. And that looks like this. Very pretty. It's a little darker tone generally, but that's kind of in the ear of the beholder too. We'll play a little bit on this and then compare it to the spruce. Sounds nice. Maybe not as much volume though. That's not even close. This one just totally just like there's so much more in terms of the tone. So people might select the ebony if they don't mind that it doesn't have the volume. It's a laminate, which is why it doesn't have the volume. This has a solid top. It's a laminate back, but the solid top makes the big difference. This one is definitely visually a little more interesting. All the ebonies look a little bit different. They don't all look exactly like this, but they're that darker. It's very pretty wood. It's delicate. It has an open back tuning gear, but it's a better open back tuning gear. This is worth looking at. I don't know if I can get the camera to show you. Where the joint here, the brace that goes all the way around the beam part of the tuner is a full C. It goes all the way around it instead of just like a little L bracket kind of holding it. It goes all the way over, which is better. I still don't like that it's an open back tuning gear. Out here on Maui, at least, where we have sand and we have dog fur in our house and all sorts of stuff, this is, I think, a preferred product. Requires less maintenance and cleaning and stuff. But this is still a good uke, but they're about the same price. The ebony after the sale is like $190, $199. This one's $183. It's actually less expensive and has more tone. So they're always trying to get a balance between, you know, what's the prettiest uke. I want it to be the prettiest uke when I'm playing it. You know, just a side of high. But everybody gets an opinion. So that's our run through ukuleles going up towards $200, starting from the bottom end of the range. And the next video I'm going to make right after this is going to be starting with this and comparing it to what happens when we go into better woods to compare. So it's not all in one video, but we're up at about 15 minutes now. So hopefully this has been helpful to you, and aloha.